Welcome to Credit Chats, where we deep dive into the financial maze and uncover how everything from your daily coffee to your dream home impacts your credit score. I'm LeBaron, and thank you for joining us. Each episode will explore the ins and outs of personal finance, hear from experts, and answer your questions. So tune in, take notes, and transform your financial journey with us. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys, to Credit Chats. My name is LeBaron. We have Michael Standberry here, and he is the founder of Education Through Communication, a consulting firm dedicated to equipping young adults with soft skills and entrepreneurial mindset. He grew up on the east side of Cleveland, Ohio, and he saw firsthand the challenges that underserved youth face. So his program focuses on helping young adults avoid the prison pipeline, pursue meaningful careers, and embrace entrepreneurship. Through his signature program, Conversation Over Rocks, which we will get into in a minute, Michael provides practical tools such as communication training, resume building, digital literacy. He also authorized instant gratification generation, available on Amazon, in exploring how today's youth can thrive in a fast-paced world by mastering delayed gratification. Michael is also behind Core Clothing Expo, brand promoting entrepreneurship among young people. His mission is to empower the next generation with confidence and skills needed to succeed in today's dynamic environment. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for being here.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to get right into this. What inspired, what's your business? What is the main thing that you provide?
So my business is the consulting firm business where I really get in the neighborhood trying to make a difference. I put together a 8-week program. It is a nonprofit. And what we do is we break down the skills that I find are the most important for a teenager growing up so that they can be successful in anything that they do. Well, number one being that the name of the company is Education Through Communication. Education, as we know, one of the most important things to have. And a lot of the youth in the urban communities lack that aggressive. I mean, it's really poor. Where people like me and yourself, we understand how to change that, how to communicate in whatever dynamic we need to in order to get the job done.
Right, right.
And it's a skill, a blessing that not everyone knows. So,
Right.
you show soft skills, and those skills hopefully transition to having a great corporate job, starting a business.
Good. So I know a little bit of the origin story. You grew up in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio, and you saw some of the underserved community. They didn't have those skills. And even some of the youth now, it's hard for them to code switch like we learned to do when we were coming up, and they think it compromises their morals a little bit when they have to code switch, which if you keep in mind your ultimate goal, you can make sure you're not compromising your goals. I mean, compromising your morals. And of course, if it's something that's going to compromise your morals, that's not something you want to do. But just being able to use grammar that is widely accepted in the workplace is not that doesn't challenge your morals. Like something like that just shows that you have a vocabulary. That doesn't mean that you ain't hood or you ain't from the streets, but at the same time, you don't really want people to look at you like you're from the hood or you're from the streets or anything like that either. But it also doesn't mean that you're gonna forget your roots or you're not gonna serve the people that the people that were in your community, or you're not gonna help them. That just means you're gonna have more help when you're doing it because people look at you like, okay, that's a cause that I want to get into. So thank you for even seeing that was a gap that you wanted to fill, and that was a need that you had. So yeah. And then the name of your company is Education Through Communication. And you also have a clothing line, and you also have a book that you have on Amazon. So tell us like the difference between those three things. I mean, of course we know a book and the clothing line, but I mean, just give us a brief synopsis of what's going on with those things.
Sure. So everything ties together. Ties together because I am one of those scattered people, where I have a lot of ideas, But now that I'm 35, I understand how important it is just to take one thing and branch off with that one thing.
Right.
So the clothing line is directly correlated with the program. So when you wear these clothes, like I said, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, where when it didn't happen to me, but I remember people going outside with the Jordans on. And if you go down the wrong street, you coming out of those shoes.
Yeah.
It may be by deadly force. Nobody needs to be thinking about that. Or for instance, when you're going to school, you're worried about whether somebody's going to take your shoe or take it, whatever it is you have your apparel that you have on. You're not supposed to be thinking about your safety when you're going to school. You're supposed to be thinking about learning and making yourself better so you can get out of your circumstances, maybe help your family out or whatever the case may be. But with this clothing line, you're wearing this clothing line because you're getting back to the core. You're getting back to what matters, you know what I mean? Whatever that looks like for you, because it's different from every child or
Right.
a young adult. You know, I don't have I don't walk in their shoes. I don't have their same circumstances. So I have to first build that personal connection to see what that core looks like for them, because it looks for me. But it should be very similar because we both want to upgrade. We want to do better. We want to help the loved ones that we have.
Right.
So
Right.
that's where the clothing line steps for. So when you're wearing, you shouldn't worry about nobody taking it off you actually either embracing some education or having a good conversation and uplifting somebody while you're wearing these outfits, you
Good.
know.
Good.
And then the book is called Instant Gratification Generation. I call myself, because I'm 35, well, I'm not too young, I'm not too old. However, in 35 years, I feel like a lot of things have changed.
Right.
That book just kind of bridges the gap between the youth younger than me, all the way up to, you know, my mother and my father's generation, because
Right.
they think that my mother and father think that the world is going to be doomed because the teenagers growing up are horrible, and the teenagers growing up think that the elders are old and out of touch, and it's not the case. I'm 35, so I know that there are benefits to technology, but there are also benefits to having structure and wisdom.
Yeah. And even the Bible says that the young are going to learn from the old and the old are going to learn from the young. But just being in our
Mhm.
generation, we understand that energy that they have is invaluable, and they can run circles around people and doing a lot of things. And then the wisdom that the older generation has is invaluable as well. So the thing is, you need both of those things for you to be successful.
Exactly.
But yeah, what were some of the initial challenges that you faced when you were starting this company?
Oh goodness, there isn't going to be any help. I'll say that. And I started this to help, and for years this is going to be me,
Right.
just me being ignored, not being taken serious. Even though for years I was just doing resumes and doing whatever I could, just because I learned a lot about my history. I got into my Bible, and I'm like, this is the only way.
Yeah.
And so I ran into issues where uh, just loneliness, if I'm being totally honest. I
Yeah.
mean, at times that'll still happen, but I have to remember why I'm doing it. You
Right.
know, it's not about me. It's really
Right.
not, I'll do this for free because I know when I get older, I want to be able to say that I made an effort to change my community, which I
Right.
will.
Right. And we met on the blocks. And one of the things that I know some of the other participants on the blocks like that were co-founders and everything, they were looking at how they had a person that wasn't really carrying as much weight. And then when they got there and realized there were a lot of people there that were alone, or a lot of people that have started businesses on their own, they were like, well, at least I got somebody here that started a business with me. But yeah, I feel those same challenges as well. A lot of times you get to a place where it's like, okay, I know I'm the one that's going to make this go. And if I don't do anything, then it won't get done.
Right.
So I definitely feel you there. How do you determine which soft skills and entrepreneurial concepts are the most critical for the young adults in today's rapidly changing job market?
That's a good question. I have everything detailed out as to what I think is important,
Hmm.
and like having a good digital footprint. For
Right.
there are our young teenagers are glued to the phone 24 hours a day like this.
Hmm.
As we know, everything that you take in, you put out. If your digital footprint, let's say they're going to get jobs because that's what my goal is to help
Right.
get a job. I hire teenagers in hospitality. I've been working in hospitality operations for almost 10 a decade.
Hmm.
And of course, I have to hire younger adults. If now we're not supposed to go on anyone's social media pages,
Right.
but we do. And if I go on your social media page and you got a the smoke see in hand or the two pistols, I'm going to see that and you're not getting hired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yep.
can't say if I hired you and I saw that if you turn out to be horrible, then I knew that, that's my fault. However, if you put yourself out there the way you should be as a young professional that wants to be perceived as a successful person eventually, then you won't put yourself out there like that.
Yeah.
But the caveat to that is that doesn't always work. Sometimes I have to go in and figure out the group that I'm dealing with. These kids may be a little bit more advanced or not advanced. We may have to talk about relationships, which is a huge thing. You pick the wrong partner, your life is destroyed.
Right.
So it really just depends on how I gauge with the teenagers because a lot of times it's quite education through communication because a lot of times they're not heard. That's the big issue. And people, a lot of older people think that the younger people don't like to communicate because they're always on their phone. They just don't know how.
Or it's not in the same fashion that we were communicating when we came up. So
Sure.
you have to change that. You have to meet them where they are and then show them different ways to do different things. So like you said, I understand and in talking to the youth, I know that it's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of young people that have a lot of really good minds, a lot of witty young people. And the barriers is age old. The communication barrier is age old. So if you can find out how to communicate with them, then they're going to listen to you and they're going to act on some of the things like, and I talk to some of the youth just from being in the financial space that want to learn this kind of stuff and they want to know how to buy a house or they want to know how to do things with their credit or things like that. It's just that people haven't presented it to them on why it's beneficial. So yeah, but again, thank you for bridging that gap with them. So what financial challenges did you encounter when you started your organization and how did you overcome those?
So money is always going to be a thing. And when it first started out something, I did anything I could to put to first of all get my name out.
Mhm.
And like I said, being a scattered person all over the place, I tried to do hundreds and dozens of different businesses because of the money situation. I worked a full-time job. I was always working. I had a daughter at a very young age. So money was always an issue.
Right.
But less of an issue than just having the knowledge, which is why I went on the block. It took me years. Eventually, but years before the blocks, I did figure out ways around having money or saving my own money,
Mhm.
like starting the clothing line with my own money and things that I needed. So a lot of it was just myself, which is how every business is started.
Yep.
But like I said, being on that show, the blocks really put a lot in perspective. So now I'm in a whole different trajectory, which I'm blessed. I almost did not go on that show, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
God had a different plan for me, and it was
Yeah.
the right plan, like it always is.
And I'm glad you got on. I mean, I'm glad you decided to go because there was a subset of people that when we got to the blocks, it was like we connected instantly, and it was just like we were friends that hadn't met yet. How does your organization's financial model work? And did you rely on grants, donations, or did you charge for your services?
So the first time I did it, I partnered with the nonprofit and actually charged them from the price structure that I learned from them. That was my first rodeo, and
Okay.
that was about 4 years ago. Now I have a writer, a local pastor from Cleveland, which is another reason why I'm out here today, not just to visit the family, but also to do some work. And she's not my grant writer, so that is the direction that the company will be going in from forward. So I'm
Good.
really excited about
Good.
that. Because of the climate change, I'm a little under the weather, but I am ecstatic. You have no
Yeah.
idea. This is my year. This is my
That's
year.
that's awesome, man. And
Oh,
yeah, and before I was saying there was a subset of us that came to the blocks and we connected almost instantly just because we were all entrepreneurs, we were all going in the same direction. And like you said before, it gets lonely. So there is that instant connection with somebody else who knows exactly what you're going through and exactly what the challenges that you face without you having to tell them. So
um,
that kind of thing was like trauma bonding when we got there. So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you finally decided to go and that we met there.
I appreciate it. Same.
S-
Likewise.
So can you
Likewise.
share a success story of a young adult who's benefited from your program?
Sure. I had a young guy. What's his name?
Well, you don't have to say his name. You just tell us
That's
what.
true. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Private. But, and, and this is very simple though. This wasn't even, he was in my program and he did benefit from our program. But there were things that I was able to help him with that he had never even thought about. We did a mock interview. I was able to bring my, at the time, general manager in. We had already gone through our list of how to write a resume,
Right.
how to speak, things of that nature, how what to wear. So then the day that I had my general manager come in, had them dressed up, put a tie on, and then actually interview. So when it came time for him to do his actual interview, he wasn't nervous, but at least how to speak, as
Right.
opposed to before, where I knew him personally, he would slump down in the chair, he would mumble, you know what I mean? Because he's nervous.
Yeah.
This is a thing for him. He had a job before, but now he's sitting up straight, speaking, asking questions. He wants to know about the money, but he also wants to know how you treat him. Like, it was a beautiful day. Beautiful day. That's what I want him to get out of that.
And that's awesome. And a lot of the times people go into job interviews and they don't remember that they can ask questions as well. Because
Mhm.
the questions that you ask that company about their culture, about how they do things, about other people that have been there, about the person that left the job before you got there, all of that stuff is going to give you exactly what you need to know whether you want to be part of that organization or not. So it's
Absolutely.
not, and I know when you're young, it's only about the money, like getting something to get to the next, but eventually it becomes about more than just the money. And there's no amount of money that can take you away from something that you love to do, or if it does take you away from what you love to do, you better be hyper focused on the goal or what you need to get from that so you can make sure you transition out of that into doing your own thing very quickly. So yeah, looking ahead though, what are your plans for scaling? I mean, I know you told us about the grant writing that you're about to get done, and I mean that's definitely a scaling option. And then what are your plans for scaling the organization and reaching more young adults? And how do you plan to finance that growth?
So what'll happen is I am from Cleveland. And so there I have family members that are out here that actually will be trained with the program. So
Right.
that we were able to run from because we've been in the community for so long and our last name has weight. I think that Cleveland will be a great area to start in. We'll take one neighborhood at a time while
Mhm.
simultaneously doing the same thing in Southern California.
Right.
And so we'll scale in that way. It won't be very fast, but I don't need it to be, but it will scale because what we're doing is so valuable to each of the community.
Good. And so, in conclusion, tell us how we can find you, how we can find out more about what you're doing, like your handles and things like that.
Sure. Almost every platform is education through communication. That's the Instagram. That is also the TikTok, I believe. And then we have the book, of course, that is on Amazon Prime, Instant Gratification Generate. I, I am going to get better with my social media. And my main focus right now is actually getting the work done. So I will be heavy on social media within the next 6 months because I want to put out information that is consistent, not only good, but very
Right.
consistent.
Right.
But for now, you can definitely go to my website, which is education through communication.wordpress.com, and that has everything on it. Okay. I'll also be starting a blog soon as well. But like I said, just really getting focused on actively being in the community. I'm going to be throwing some free events in California as well as a few in Cleveland before the summer is out. And so
Right.
that's mainly where you'll find me right there on the website.
All right, good. Is there any thoughts that you want to leave the audience with?
Sure. Just understanding everybody get up. This is something that is a passion of mine because of the need that I see. But we're all going to get older one day. And if we don't reach out and grab somebody and pull them up with us, then they may be against us when we get older. But you don't want to be
Right.
in your house that you've paid your mortgage off for 35 years and then your neighborhood turns into goes down the crapper because you didn't do anything that down the street with the neighbor's kids. Everybody, we've gotten so far away from community and neighborhood
Yeah.
that it's going to be to our dead here. And we really don't have a choice. You to do something. You can take your kids down. You got kids, take them down to that and let them understand what it means to help somebody else other than themselves.
Yeah.
You got the time. You do.
And if you get that sense of community, not only will it build your community, but it'll also keep you from getting priced out of your community, because when the property values go down and the corporate can swoop in and buy up all that land, they're gonna tear all those houses down anyway, put up different houses, and then you're gonna be priced out of your own neighborhood. So, and the thing with that happening is that you're going to be pushed out to places that you don't want to be, or you're going to get homeless. And then you're going to resort to measures to make money just so you can keep up. And when you're not able to breathe, then you're going to start looking for ways to scratch and scrape to breathe. So building that sense of community not only helps us right now, but it helps us in the long run too. So thank you, Michael, for being on Credit Chats. Guys, you see he's doing really good things as far as helping our youth out. And I really believe in what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing, Michael. And looking forward to all the stuff that's going to come from your organization and the things that you're doing. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Were you about to leave without hitting that like and subscribe button? I mean, you'll be back, right? So why not save yourself the hassle and just do it now? It's like putting your keys by the door, or packing your lunch, or packing 3 days before your flight and not the night of. It just makes life easier. But wait, did you just do it? I knew you had it in you. I appreciate that. See you next time. Same place, same channel. And remember, everything you need is inside of you.